And while London is resolute in continuing to back the current Ukrainian leadership, far from everyone there is on board. British Heritage Party leader David Curtin has just shared a poll revealing how many taxpayers may be keen to hit the brakes on funding for Kiev. And I'm delighted to say Mr. Curtin himself joins us now from England for further reaction. David, thanks for your time today. Interesting, we'll get to that poll in just a second, but we have the UK helping lead an essentially pro-war charge while the US is championing a pro-peace agenda. Could this lead to a sustained strain in that special relationship?
Yeah, everything has changed since President Trump came into the White House and took office on the 20th of January, because now he has done a complete 180 turn from what Biden was doing in seeking to escalate the war, and now Trump is seeking peace. But Keir Starmer is still singing the old tune. He is just following in the footsteps of Johnson and Truss and Sunak, and when he came into office in July last year, he just carried on escalating, saying we're going to give more weapons to Ukraine, perhaps air support, and now he's talking about boots on the ground, as you said in your report there, and planes in the air, which are two huge red lines, of course, to President Putin. But he's talking about a situation which may not even happen because we actually don't know if there's going to be a peace deal. If there is a peace deal, I hope there is, of course, we don't know what it's going to say. So there's no way that Keir Starmer can actually look ahead and say, well, this is what the peace deal is going to be like, when the two main players and actors who are putting it together are, of course, President Trump and President Putin. So I think this is just another way of trying to keep himself in the center of the picture and trying to keep the narrative going that we need to escalate the war in Ukraine, keep it going, and this crazy idea that they're somehow going to win, and what winning looks like to them is pushing the Russian army back to the borders of Ukraine before not just a special military operation, but before 2014 as well. It's simply not going to happen. He's living in unreality, but it's a very dangerous unreality that he's in.
You went through the main points of that four-point plan there. Aside from that, the British PM announced another $2 billion equivalent aid package to Kiev, this time as a loan. Do you foresee that ever being repaid by Kiev?
I don't think so. The Ukrainian economy is in tatters. There's nothing really left there. It's on life support, again, as you said in your report. The only way it's keeping going is through massive amounts of injections of cash, not just to the military, but to the economy, to keep the government apparatchiks being paid, for example. If that money supply gets cut off, then the government employees will be out of a job, will be out of money, and nothing is really going to be happening in the Ukrainian economy. I mean, it's such a tragedy because it's such a wealthy country in terms of resources, oil, gas, minerals, agriculture, farming, but there is very little happening in Ukraine. The economy is decimated. So I think what Keir Starmer is doing is pledging more money. He's giving more money to Ukraine. He's giving more loan guarantees. But this is all to the chagrin of the people of the United Kingdom, who see how he has hammered businesses and private schools and farmers and pensioners in this country, but he's throwing money down the drain at the Zelensky regime, and it really is a very, very bad economics that Keir Starmer is engaging in.
And that poll seems to show starkly how many people are increasingly questioning the policies coming from Downing Street. But David, just to say, or to show our viewers as well, something that cross-Atlantic, that glitch in the relationship right now. We had Zelensky largely backing away from commenting what happened in the Oval Office. But then we had the US, the German Chancellor, excuse me, saying that the US intentionally escalated the tone. You know, this isn't backing down. We can take a listen together.
I don't believe the format of what happened brought anything positive or additional to us as partners. I don't want to discuss what occurred. I understand it. I wouldn't want to talk about why it happened. I don't think we should continue building strong relations in such a format. I am confident that this situation will pass and more important things lie ahead.
Yes, in my estimation, it was not a spontaneous reaction to interventions by Zelensky, but obviously a manufactured escalation in this meeting in the Oval Office. These press appointments usually only last a few minutes. Friday was different. And yes, I have to say that I was quite surprised, also by the tone of the conversation. That didn't help the cause.
David, it just appears to me that European elites were shocked to see somebody talking directly to Mr. Zelensky and saying, this is what needs to happen. We're giving you cash. We expect an outcome.
Indeed, I actually don't like to call these people elites because it gives them more respect than they're due. But of course, these people like Scholz and Starmer and Macron, they give every respect to Zelensky all the time, even though we know that half of the hundreds of billions of pounds that have been sent to Ukraine from the United States have gone missing. But then they are so disrespectful to President Trump, who is actually trying to bring peace and stop people being slaughtered. He wants to save lives. If there's anyone who deserves respect, it's President Trump. And it's bizarre that they don't even want to comment on the interview. I guess it's because what happened made Zelensky look very, very bad. It clearly is. They were having a cordial conversation for about 40 minutes, and then all of a sudden he seemed to kick off and just start disrespecting J.D. Vance, calling him J.D. rather than vice president, having a go at President Trump. And you know, they're not going to let that happen. They're going to stand up for themselves because that's being televised in front of the world's press. And he really came out looking very, very bad. And I think the people who saw that can see what kind of a person Zelensky is after all now.
Yeah, very interesting making it public, wasn't it? So you can see it unfiltered and direct. UK Heritage Party leader David Curtin, as always, David, thank you for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you. Good to join you.
You too.